11th Amendment to the United States Constitution. The judicial power of the United States shall not be construed to extend to any suit in law or equity, commenced or prosecuted against one of the United States by citizens of another state, or by citizens or subjects of any foreign state.
美国宪法第11修正案，合众国的司法权不得被解释为可以扩展到受理由他州公民或任何外国公民或臣民对合众一州提出的或起诉的任何普通法或衡平法的诉讼。
12th Amendment to the United States Constitution. The electors shall meet in their respective states, and vote by ballot for president and vice president, one of whom, at least, shall not be an inhabitant of the same state with themselves. They shall name in their ballots the person voted for as president, and in distinct ballots the person voted for as vice president, and they shall make distinct lists of all persons voted for as president. And all persons voted for as vice president and of the number of votes for each, which lists they shall sign and certify, and transmit sealed to the seat of the government of the United States, directed to the President of the Senate.
美国宪法第12修正案，选举人在各自州内集会，投票选举总统和副总统，其中至少有一人不是选举人本州的居民。选举人需在选票上写明被选为总统之人的姓名，并在另一选票上写明被选为副总统之人的姓名。选举人需将所有被选为总统之人和所有被选为副总统之人分别开列名单，写明每人所得票数，在该名单上签名作证，将封印后的名单送合众国政府所在地，交参议院议长收。
The President of the Senate shall, in the presence of the Senate and House of Representatives, open all the certificates, and the votes shall then be counted.
参议院议长在参议院和众议院全体议员面前开拆所有证明书，然后计算票数。
The person having the greatest number of votes for president, shall be the president, if such number be a majority of the whole number of electors appointed, and if no person have such majority, then from the persons having the highest numbers not exceeding 3 on the list of those voted for as president, the House of Representatives shall choose immediately, by ballot, the president.
获得总统选票最多的人，如所得票数超过所选派选举人总数的半数，即为总统。如无人获得这众过半数票，众议院应立即从被选为总统之人名单中得票最多的但不超过3人中间投票选举总统。
But in choosing the president, the votes shall be taken by states, the representation from each state having 1 vote. A quorum for this purpose shall consist of a member or members from 2/3 of the states, and a majority of all the states shall be necessary to a choice. And if the House of Representatives shall not choose a president whenever the right of choice shall devolve upon them, before the 4th day of March next following, then the Vice President shall act as President, as in the case of the death or other constitutional disability of the President.
但以此法选举总统时，投票应以州为单位，即每州代表共有1票。如全国2/3的州各有1名或多名众议员出席，即构成选举总统的法定人数，当选总统者需获全部州的过半数票。如选举总统的权力转移到众议院，而该院在次年3月4日前尚未选出总统时，则由副总统代理总统，与总统死亡或宪法规定的其他丧失任职能力的情况相同。
The person having the greatest number of votes as vice president, shall be the vice president, if such number be a majority of the whole number of electors appointed, and if no person have a majority, then from the 2 highest numbers on the list, the Senate shall choose the vice president. A quorum for the purpose shall consist of 2/3 of the whole number of senators, and a majority of the whole number shall be necessary to a choice. But no person constitutionally ineligible to the office of president shall be eligible to that of vice president of the United States.
得副总统选票最多的人，如所得票数超过所选派选举人总数的半数，即当选为副总统。如无人得过半数票，参议院应从名单上2个得票最多的人中选举副总统。选举副总统的法定人数为参议员总数的2/3，当选副总统者需获参议员总数的过半数票。 但依宪法无资格担任总统的人，也无资格担任合众国副总统。
13th Amendment to the United States Constitution. Section 1. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction.
美国宪法第13修正案第1款，奴隶或强迫劳役，除用以惩罚依法判刑的罪犯之外，不得在合众国境内或受合众国管辖之任何地方存在。
Section 2. Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation.
第2款，国会有权以适当立法实施本条。
14th Amendment to the United States Constitution. Section 1. All persons born or naturalized in the United States, and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property, without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws.
美国宪法第14修正案第1款，任何人，凡在合众国出生或规划合众国并受其管辖者，均为合众国及所居住之州的公民。任何州不得制定或执行任何剥夺合众国公民特权或豁免权的法律。任何州，如未经适当法律程序，均不得剥夺任何人的生命、自由或财产，亦不得对任何在其管辖下的人拒绝给予平等的法律保护。
Section 2. Representatives shall be apportioned among the several states according to their respective numbers, counting the whole number of persons in each state, excluding Indians not taxed.
第2款，各州众议员的数目应按照各该州的人口数目分配，此项人口除了不纳税的印第安人以外，包括各该州全体人口的总数。
But when the right to vote at any election for the choice of electors for President and Vice President of the United States, representatives in Congress, the executive and judicial officers of a state, or the members of the legislature thereof, is denied to any of the male inhabitants of such state, being 21 years of age, and citizens of the United States. Or in any way abridged, except for participation in rebellion, or other crime, the basis of representation therein shall be reduced in the proportion which the number of such male citizens shall bear to the whole number of male citizens 21 years of age in such state.
但如果一个州拒绝任何年满21岁的合众国男性公民参加对于美国总统及副总统选举人、国会众议员、本州行政及司法官员或本州州议会议员等各项选举，或以其他方法剥夺其上述各项选举权，除非是因参加叛变或因其他罪行而被剥夺，则该州在众议院议席的数目应按照该州这类男性公民的数目对该州年满21岁男性公民总数的比例加以削减。
Section 3. No person shall be a senator or representative in Congress, or elector of president and vice president, or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state, who, having previously taken an oath, as a member of Congress, or as an officer of the United States, or as a member of any state legislature, or as an executive or judicial officer of any state, to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. But Congress may by a vote of 2/3 of each house, remove such disability.
第3款，任何人，凡是曾经以国会议员、合众国政府官员、州议会议员或任何州的行政或司法官员的身份，宣誓拥护合众国宪法，而后来从事于颠覆或反叛国家的行为，或给予国家的敌人以协助或方便者，均不得为国会的参议员、众议员、总统与副总统选举人，或合众国政府或任何州政府的任何文职或军职官员。但国会可由参议院与众议院各以2/3的多数表决，撤销该项限制。
Section 4. The validity of the public debt of the United States, authorized by law, including debts incurred for payment of pensions and bounties for services in suppressing insurrection or rebellion, shall not be questioned. But neither the United States nor any state shall assume or pay any debt or obligation incurred in aid of insurrection or rebellion against the United States, or any claim for the loss or emancipation of any slave. But all such debts, obligations and claims shall be held illegal and void.
第4款，对于法律批准的合众国公共债务，包括因支付平定作乱或反叛有功人员的年金和奖金而产生的债务，其效力不得有所怀疑，但无论合众国或任何一州，都不得承担或偿付因援助对合众国的作乱或反叛而产生的任何债务或义务，或因丧失或解放任何奴隶而提出的任何赔偿要求。所有这类债务、义务和要求都应被视为非法和无效。
Section 5. The Congress shall have power to enforce, by appropriate legislation, the provisions of this article.
第5款，国会有权以适当立法实施本条规定。
15th Amendment to the United States Constitution. Section 1. The right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude.
美国宪法第15修正案第1款，合众国政府或任何州政府不得因种族、肤色或以前曾服劳役而拒绝给予或剥夺合众国公民的选举权。
Section 2. The Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation.
第2款，国会有权以适当立法实施本条。
16th Amendment to the United States Constitution. The Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes on incomes, from whatever source derived, without apportionment among the several states, and without regard to any census or enumeration.
美国宪法第16修正案，国会有权对任何来源的收入课征所得税，无需在各州按比例进行分配，也无需考虑任何人口普查或人口统计数。
17th Amendment to the United States Constitution. The Senate of the United States shall be composed of 2 senators from each state, elected by the people thereof, for 6 years, and each senator shall have 1 vote. The electors in each state shall have the qualifications requisite for electors of the most numerous branch of the state legislatures.
美国宪法第17修正案，合众国参议院由每州人民各选参议员2人组成，任期6年，每名参议员有1票的表决权。各州选举人应具有该州议会中人数最多议院所必须之选举人资格。
When vacancies happen in the representation of any state in the Senate, the executive authority of such state shall issue writs of election to fill such vacancies, provided that the legislature of any state may empower the executive thereof to make temporary appointments until the people fill the vacancies by election as the legislature may direct.
任何一州在参议院的代表出现缺额时，该州行政当局应发布选举令，以填补此项缺额。但任何一州的议会，在人民依该议会指示进行选举填补缺额以前，得授权本州行政长官任命临时参议员。
This amendment shall not be so construed as to affect the election or term of any senator chosen before it becomes valid as part of the Constitution.
本条修正案不得做如此解释，以致影响在本条修正案作为宪法的一部分生效以前当选的任何参议员的选举或任期。
18th Amendment to the United States Constitution. Section 1. After 1 year from the ratification of this article, the manufacture, sale, or transportation of intoxicating liquors within, the importation thereof into, or the exportation thereof from the United States and all territories subject to the jurisdiction thereof for beverage purposes is hereby prohibited.
美国宪法第18修正案第1款，本条批准1年后，禁止在合众国及其管辖下的所有领土内酿造、出售和运送作为饮料的制醉酒类，禁止此等酒类输入或输出合众国及其管辖下的所有领土。
Section 2. The Congress and the several states shall have concurrent power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation.
第二款，国会和各州都有权以适当立法实施本条。
Section 3. This article shall be inoperative unless it shall have been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution by the legislatures of the several states, as provided in the Constitution, within 7 years from the date of the submission hereof to the states by the Congress.
第三款，本条除非在国会将其提交各州之日起7年以内，由各州议会按本宪法规定批准为宪法修正案，否则不得发生效力。
19th Amendment to the United States Constitution. The right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex.
美国宪法第19修正案，合众国公民的选举权不得因性别缘故而被合众国或任何一州加以否定或剥夺。
Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation.
国会有权以适当立法实施本条。
20th Amendment to the United States Constitution. Section 1. The terms of the President and Vice President shall end at noon on the 20th day of January, and the terms of Senators and Representatives at noon on the 3d day of January, of the years in which such terms would have ended if this article had not been ratified, and the terms of their successors shall then begin.
美国宪法第20修正案。第一款，总统和副总统的任期应在本条未获批准前原定任期届满之年的1月20日正午结束，参议员和众议员的任期在本条未获批准前原定任期届满之年的1月3日正午结束，他们继任人的任期在同时开始。
Section 2. The Congress shall assemble at least once in every year, and such meeting shall begin at noon on the 3rd day of January, unless they shall by law appoint a different day.
第二款，国会每年至少应开会一次，除国会依法另定日期外，此种会议应在1月3日正午开始。
Section 3. If, at the time fixed for the beginning of the term of the President-elect shall have died, the Vice President-elect shall become President. If a President shall not have been chosen before the time fixed for the beginning of his term, or if the President-elect shall have failed to qualify, then the Vice President-elect shall act as President until a President shall have qualified.
第三款，如当选总统在规定总统任期开始之时已经死亡，当选副总统应即成为总统。如在规定总统任期开始的时间以前，总统尚未选出，或当选总统不合资格，当选副总统应在有合乎资格的总统之前代理总统职务。
And the Congress may by law provide for the case wherein neither a President-elect nor a Vice President-elect shall have qualified, declaring who shall then act as President, or the manner in which one who is to act shall be selected, and such person shall act accordingly until a President or Vice President shall have qualified.
在当选总统和当选副总统都不合乎资格时，国会得以法律规定代理总统之人，或宣布选出代理总统的办法。此人应代理总统，直到一名总统或副总统合乎资格时为止。
Section 4. The Congress may by law provide for the case of the death of any of the persons from whom the House of Representatives may choose a President whenever the right of choice shall have devolved upon them, and for the case of the death of any of the persons from whom the Senate may choose a Vice President whenever the right of choice shall have devolved upon them.
第四款，在选举总统的权力交到众议院，而可选为总统的人有人死亡时，在选举副总统的权力交到参议院，而可选为副总统的人中有人死亡时，国会得依法对这些情况作出决定。
Section 5. Sections 1 and 2 shall take effect on the 15th day of October following the ratification of this article.
第五款，第一款和第二款应在紧接本条批准以后的10月15日生效。
Section 6. This article shall be inoperative unless it shall have been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution by the legislatures of 3/4 of the several states within 7 years from the date of its submission.
第六款， 本条除非在其提交各州之日起7年以内，由3/4的州议会批准为宪法修正案，否则不发生效力。